Greetings and salutations, tamers. Welcome back once again to TemDex. Today we will be doing a very basic guide on how to allocate TVs for your Temtem. First things first, you first need to have TemTeam open. To open TemTeam, just go to Tem.team and you will be taken to this page. If you do www.Tem.team, then you will not reach the website. You will get this. So just do Tem.team. Over here you can create an account and log in, and once you log in you have a whole bunch of features available to you. For example, creating a team, and the teams you create you can save them. So as you can see, I've got a lot of teams saved over here, and once you have the team saved you can also put notes in your team. So anything you want to write down, you can write it over here. And this does have a word limit, but I don't know what that word limit is. So do be conservative when you are writing down things over here. But the word limit is fairly large and quite sufficient, to be honest. So this is the first thing you have to have open, or something of its equivalent, because this will also help you calculate the damage and various other aspects when spreading your TV. Now the second thing you want to have open is Discord. You want to join the official Temtem Discord, because over here in the community section there's a channel called Competitive, and this is a very valuable channel for you, especially for beginners, because here if you ask questions people will answer. If you're confused, for example, maybe you are confused about whether to put humiliating slap or rockfall on your tactical strike 2 rock. So such questions the users on Discord will happily answer for you, as long as they have the knowledge to. You can also give them your Temtem's TVs to review and provide you feedback. I do it all the time. So absolutely do join the official Temtem Discord and seek help and guidance from the users on the Discord channel. Now, second thing you want to have open is Tortknight's Garden. So on Tortknight's Garden, there is an option called Temtem. You click over there, and once there, you can just type in the name. For example, VULFFY Volfi, and you'll get Volfi. If you click on it, you will be given a basic guide to Volfi. Now you need to take these guides with a pinch of salt, because some of them are up to date while others are slightly outdated. So do take them with a pinch of salt, and I recommend using this as a reference if you are confused or have no idea on how to spread TVs for your Temtem. So use it as a reference. If not, you can absolutely use it completely as well. Follow it like A to Z, and you will receive some amount of positive results. But in hindsight, my recommendation is to just use it as a reference and not to follow it completely. Just use it as a reference to get an idea of how to spread TVs for your Temtem. Linked to Tortknight's Garden as well as TemTeam will be in the description box below. Another thing you want to have open is the official Temtem wiki, so that you know what moves are available for the Temtem, how much the stamina costs, what are its base stats, etc. We will be doing Volfi as an example today, so I'll open Volfi up. A link to the official Temtem wiki will also be in the description box below should you require it. Now, I have some experience running stall teams, so we will be using a stall team as an example. Our choice of Temtem is Volfi, and we will put the gear Sweatband on Volfi. Trait Team Elusive. Max level, and all TVs are 0 currently. So how do you TV spread when you start? To start off, what you need to calculate is stamina. This is the absolute first thing you must calculate, so that it makes the job easier. Basically, this is the easiest stat to calculate. Generally, depending on your strategy, you want your Temtems to do at least 2 moves or more. Generally, it's between 2 and 4. That's what most people do. So we will be running a core Volphy, a bulky Volphy for a stall team with Sweatband. So that means we want our Volphy to be on the field for a long, long time, possibly even beyond 4 turns. But just because you want your Volphy to be on the battlefield for a long duration does not mean you put in 500 TVs in stamina, because that is absolutely insane and useless. It will make you lose the match completely for sure. So our chosen moves are Lightful Sap, Plague, Dust Vortex, and Bush. Lightful Sap, Bush, Plague, and Dust Vortex. These are the 4 moves that we have, and I have decided that I want to have enough stamina to use each move once before running out of stamina. So in total, Volphy should be able to do all 4 moves continuously once. To calculate stamina, the first thing you need to know are the basic stamina breakpoints. I have a document over here that has information on how stamina works, their breaking points, etc. I will talk more in depth on stamina on a future guide, which will be dedicated simply specifically to 1 stat each. So in the coming TemDex guides, you will have one episode completely dedicated to stamina, and I will talk about how stamina works, how it's calculated, everything related to stamina, so that you have a better idea. Each stat will receive one guide of its own. So if you like that, then you should absolutely subscribe right now, so that you get the guide as soon as it comes out and you are able to take advantage of it to win more games. So stamina breaking points for without Sweatband, for 20 and below, it's 2 stamina at the end of each turn. For 21, it's 3. For 41, it's 4. For 61, it's 5. And for 81, it's 6. With Sweatband, it's 9. For 45 and above, it's 9 at the end of each turn. 55 and above, it's 10. 61 and above, it's 11. 65 and above, it's 12. 75 and above is 13. 81 and above is 14. 85 and above is 15. So as you can see, with Sweatband, the regeneration breakpoints are far, far more greater. And this is without resting. So with resting, it's a whole different game. It's a whole different game plan. So this is without resting. This is just at the end of each turn. So let's calculate for our Volphy. You will need a calculator unless you are very swift when it comes to calculating mentally without a calculator. So I'm not that swift, so I'll use a calculator. So at base stamina, Volphy has 56. That's not going to be enough even with Sweatband for 4 turns, 1 move each. So let's take, for example, we'll do 65. So at 65, we receive 12 stamina regen per turn. So 65 minus 24 plus 12 minus 24 plus 12 minus, how much is left? Full sap. 20 plus 12 minus 21 plus 12. I think I did it wrong. 65 minus 24 plus 12 minus 24 plus 12 minus 21 plus 12 minus 20 plus 12. So 24, we still have 24. That's good, that's good. So we'll put 65 since it also gives us an extra turn. Now when you put in TVs, you want to optimize your TVs to the best possible range to get the exact number you want. So we want 65, so let's try it. At 40 we don't get it. At 60 we get 66. So we'll have to decrease this. 55, 50, 65. So what I want to say is 49, we still get 65, right? So at 50 we get 65. So we don't want to put 50 because now there are extra TVs in stamina which are not giving us any value. These TVs can be used on other stats. So optimize your TV to the exact number that'll give you the number that you desire. So let's do 49. No, 48. Okay, so 49 is the exact TV we need to get 65 stamina. Now that we have stamina calculated, the next thing we want to calculate is HP. On defense, the most valuable stat is HP. HP is far more valuable than defense and special defense. The reason for this is because it's much more complex, so I will talk about it in a future TemDex. But for now, let's just keep it simple. And as a beginner, you should absolutely follow the rule that HP is more valuable than defense or special defense. I will show you an example of how this is true. Now, let's do a 500 HP Wolfie, and let's do a max defense Wolfie. And we'll take Size Munch as an example. Size Munch, uppercut. This does effective damage into Wolfie. So 44.71% damage. Yep. And with a base stamina of 208 minus 93 damage, Wolfie has 115 HP left when you've invested max in defense. Now let's do the same with a max HP Wolfie. Uppercut. Did we? No, we didn't invest anything. So on a max HP Wolfie, it's doing 46.64% damage. And over here you might see 44.71% damage. And just by percentage, you might think that this Wolfie is taking lesser damage, but that is not actually the case. I will show you now. So at max HP, Wolfie has 298. 298 minus 139 equals 159. So as you can see, the Wolfie with max defense has 115 HP left, and the Wolfie with max HP has 159 HP left. And this is the difference, the basic difference that I'm trying to show you. How this actually works, I will follow up in a future TemDex video that will only talk about HP and how it's more valuable than defense and special defense. Without HP, no matter how much defense and special defense you have, it's useless because at 0 HP, every Temtem leaves the battlefield. So the defense and special defense stat doesn't matter. Now we want maximum HP on Wolfie because Wolfie has Lightful Sap and it's a bulky Temtem. We want him on the battlefield longer. So these three reasons make it very justifiable for us to put in HP into max HP into Wolfie. You have to use reasons when allocating TVs into your Temtem. Randomly allocating TVs does not work. What is your reason for allocating that much TV into that stat for your Temtem? You have to have that. So let's optimize the stat. 499, 498, 497. So 498 is the exact stat we want. Now once we've put in the HP, we want to start calculating effective moves. Now super effective moves. Super effective moves are moves that take 4 times the normal damage. Such moves, it's generally is not possible to survive such moves. It's not possible. So we will only be calculating effective moves, and Wolfie only has one effective move into him, which is from melee attacks. So Size Munch with max attack does 65.1% damage. If Size Munch has an ally providing him War Drum value, then that's 70.47% damage. Now this is good. We don't want to be calculating in a way to bring this down to 50% or something like that, because we lose a lot of value on that. Generally, you don't want to be fighting against Temtem that you take effective damage from. When you calculate as a basic strategy for beginners, I would say just see if you survive one attack from that Temtem or not. And if you do survive one attack, then that's good enough. Yes, there are exceptions and there are more advanced techniques when it comes to dealing with effective moves, but this is just for beginners. So do keep that in mind. Now let's try with Heat Up. Let's say Sizeman got Heat Up off and he's at +2 attack. That puts the total damage we take to 132%. Now that's not good, so let's try and survive that. 100. Oh, I'm sorry. So we've got 453 TVs left, and this is for a stall team, so we want to have some amount into special attack as well. Otherwise, we just won't be dealing enough damage, and essentially will be useless no matter how much we survive. So we want to have some into special attack. Okay, let's try 100. At 100, we still cannot. At 200, we still cannot survive. 250, we still cannot survive. So as you can see, we are investing a lot into defense, but we are still not able to survive this. So let's just forget it. If we see a +2 attack size munch, it means run. That's what it means. Now let's try against another Temtem. Okay, so Size Munch has the highest attack. We won't calculate Osukai because he's not very popular, but Gialis is popular, so let's calculate against Gialis. Gialis, okay, hook kick. Also, when calculating the damage you take from various moves, what you want to calculate first is zero hold moves like double gash. The reason for this is because you want to calculate for the opening turn. When a Temtem enters the board, the Temtem will not have their turn 2 moves available or turn 1 moves available. They will only have the zero hold moves available. If only they have the hurry ward trait or something like that, or they came in on a swap in, then that's an exception. But we must first assume that the Temtem came in normally and only has zero hold moves left. So first calculate for zero hold moves. So double gash deals about 30.54% with effective damage. That's good. How about with war drums? 32% damage. Okay, we're fine with that as well. Hook kick. Hook kick deals 64.77% damage with war drums. Now let's put this up to 500. 91.95% damage. That is far more damage than we are willing to take, but we do survive, so we'll leave it at that for now. And double gash deals about 45% damage, and that's more than we want to take, but we'll leave that for now. So how do you, once you've calculated effective moves and you see that you are pretty much surviving anything at 100% HP, how do you calculate for defense and special defense? I will show you. That is a stat you calculate at the very end because you've already put a lot into HP. So now you must put some into offense. Otherwise, your Temtem will be offensively very weak. Now, Volphy with Plague does effective damage into Earth-type Temtems. So let's calculate for Turok, since Turok has very high HP and is popular as well. Turok. Plague. And we'll give Turok max HP. So without investing anything into special attack, we deal 40.58% damage. Now let's try and get this up to 50% so that we can knock out Turok within 2 turns. Otherwise, we'll have to be using 3 turns to knock out Turok, which we don't necessarily want. If you are doing effective damage into a Temtem, the ideal situation is to KO it within 1 turn, and a good situation is where you KO it within 2 turns. But if you have to KO it within 3 turns, then that's almost like KOing a Temtem that you are only dealing neutral damage to. So that's not an ideal situation. Okay, 100. So at 100, we are doing 43, 200, 47, 300, 51. Okay, let's try and get that down. 280. 280. 50, okay. We'll bring it down even further. 60, 65. Okay, exactly 50%. At 265, we get 177. So let's try and optimize that. Okay, 264 is what we need. So at 177, we deal exactly 50% damage to a Turok with max HP. Excellent. Now let's try another Temtem, Mudrid. Mudrid is also a very popular Temtem. As you can see, I'm picking popular Temtems to calculate my damage against, because those are the Temtems you want to calculate first on, because most people will be using them, so you will be facing them. There will be players that use Temtems that are not in the meta and are unique to their team and strategy, of course, but you definitely want to calculate for the popular Temtems because you will absolutely face them. For the unique Temtems, that's a different story altogether. So let's give Madrid max HP. At max HP, we are doing about 51.7% damage, and that's more than 50%, so we are happy with this result. Okay, now since we have calculated pretty much for everyone, let's try someone with high special defense. Let's pick Drakash. And we'll give Drakash max HP. And for Drakash, we don't want to use Plague. We want to calculate with Dust Vortex. With Dust Vortex on a max HP Drakash, we are dealing 65.2% damage. So 264 seems to be a very, very good range for our Volphy to be in. Let's calculate now for water types, because water takes effective damage. Oh, sorry, not water. What does leaf is effective into? Yeah, effective into water. Yeah. So max HP. Saipat, Babawa, Calibus takes neutral damage from all of Volphy's attacks. Piranha, Tukai is also used a decent amount. So let's calculate for Tukai. 500. Plague. 42.56% damage. Now that's not 50% and we are not happy with that result, but investing any more in special attacks should be held off right now because we only have 189 TVs left. So we need to be conservative when it comes to using our remaining stat. Another popular Temtem is Yukama and Oshiara. So let's calculate against Oshiara. Oshiara 500 and nearly 50%, so we are happy with that. And on Yukama, we're dealing 53% damage, so we are absolutely very, very happy with it. Now let's calculate on Crystal Temtem, someone like Mix. 23% damage with Plague, and with Dust Vortex, it is 65% damage. We are extremely happy with that. That's very, very good. What about on Gialis? On Gialis with Dust Vortex, we are doing 65.16% damage, and that is also very good. So it seems on the offensive side, we have everything covered. Now let's calculate speed. Now when it comes to speed, you absolutely must decide. It's decided by your strategy actually about how speedy you want your Temtems to be. For example, aggro teams are very, very speedy. They have a lot of speed investment. While stall teams, they're generally running slower Temtems, so they are not very high on speed. My Temtems, when I was running my stall team, they weren't fast at all. So for the sake of this video, I will not invest any into speed, because even in my original stall team, I did not have much into speed. I had like 25, and that was for something, to outspeed something, but I don't exactly remember what. So now let's calculate, let's put 25 on this as well. 25, 24, yeah, 25. Okay, we'll put 25. Now we have 164 remaining. Now let's look at Volphy's base stats. Volphy's base stats, he is kind of only average when it comes to defense, but for special defense, he is very, very good. He's got 85 base special defense. That puts Volphy at 150. So let's calculate some neutral damages now. Moflank, a popular Temtem, yep. We'll give him resistance badge. And we will also consider that his ally has war drums. This is an ideal situation for Moflank. Max attack and goring, because hurry ward is a thing. This is dealing 51.0% damage from a neutral attack, and that is not good at all. So we absolutely have to invest in defense. Now, do you see how I'm calculating for defense and special defense? I am not calculating based on effective moves because you just don't want to face against effective moves. What you want to face off against is neutral moves. That is why I just took a look if I was taking effective damage or not from neutral moves. Now, there's a second Temtem always on the battlefield. So we'll pick Nagai's, another popular Temtem. And we will assume that Nagai's is doing Beta Burst with max special attack. With max special attack on Nagai's and Beta Burst, that is doing 31.21% damage, and that's fine. That's fine. But 51% damage on turn 1, on like as soon as you start the battle, is not good. So we'll reduce this. At 100, we are not doing a lot. So at 164, we take 43.62% damage, and that is the least amount of damage we can take with the remaining TVs we have. So we'll just take that and run with it. Wolfie is weak defensively, so when we use Wolfie in a stall team, we have to remember that Wolfie requires the defensive buffs to survive against attack-based Temtems. Now this is for a stall team, mind you, so which is why buffs are a thing. On aggro teams, buffs are really not that popular, but on stall teams, that's how the game is played. You buff your Temtem to a point where your Temtem becomes an absolute monster and just bulldozes the opponent's team and wins the game. That's how it's played, stall teams. So 163, 164, 163, 162, 61, 60, 58, 58, 55, 56. So 158. We've got 6 TVs remaining. Let's see what we can do with this 6 TVs. Nothing there. $123, $123. So nothing there either. What about on special attack? So nothing on special attack as well. What about if we put it on stamina? So if we put it on stamina, we gain 1 extra stamina. So that's good. So we'll just leave it in stamina for now. And now our Wolfie is complete. So as you can see, we've got 498 on HP, 58 on stamina, 25 on speed, 158 in defense, 264 in special attack. And this is for as an example for a stall team. This can be optimized further, I am sure, but this is just like a very basic guide for beginners to learn how to invest their TVs in their Temtem. So if you have any questions or even better tips, do leave it in the comments below so that everyone else can learn as well. And your questions I will of course answer with the best of my knowledge. Some of you did ask me to show you my team's TVs. So this is the final version of the team I used, I believe. It had Noxolotl and Nidrasil, I know. So this is the team that I used. Now every team has its own logic and strategy. So this team was the extreme version of stall teams. There's the stall team and then there's the aggro team, and there are the extreme versions of both of these. People do not generally recommend the extreme versions, and after playing the extreme version I can see why, but I did run the extreme version because even without much offensive investments, I had ways to buff up my Temtems. Link of this team will be in the description box below, so you can check it out and you can use it. This was the team I used between the 900 and 1080 TMR range. So I think if you are playing in that TMR range, this will serve you just fine. Do feel free to modify it in any way you see fit, or just use it as a reference or copy it completely. That's it for this episode of TemDex. In the future episodes, I will be talking about each stat individually. Every episode will be dedicated to one stat each, and I will talk about how it's calculated, about its mechanics, everything, so that you have better knowledge when you are investing TVs into those stats. That's it for this episode. I'll catch you all in the next one. GG, guys.